Hello, I'm JX Editor, and for the first time since the summer, I'm joined with Chris.
Hey, hello everyone. I can't see how many people we've got online. Hopefully, we've got some people because today is the day that I die live on camera, and
Yes.
I'm hyped for it in a weird way.
Anything you want to say about your computer?
My computer,
Your will?
my oh yes, right, okay, no, okay. So we had a chat yesterday, and I mean, you're going to explain the premise of what this is. I mean, you've already posted something on your site about regarding what this stream's about. In the event that I possibly die on this stream, this is my last will and testament of Chris. This is me. You get full ownership of my computer and all of its login details in order to continue my work should I die now. I'm working on editing projects. You get to continue that and you get to keep this Mac as your own.
Yeah, I'm a Windows man, but okay.
Well, you get a Mac as well.
That's cool. Hello, people in the comment chat. Hi, Shrek69, uncompetitive, and Kino CZ.
Shrek69 is like the greatest username ever.
I'm not gonna say it. I'm not. So why might you die today?
Well, I mean, if I'm pitching this, so I don't know the make of the noodles. You probably know the name better than me.
Sam Young, I think it is. Sang Young.
And I don't know how long you've been eating these things, but I've, obviously when we've been working on projects together, I have periodically seen you eat these noodles. And the state that you get into, because they are incredibly, allegedly, I haven't tried them yet, I'm about to in a few minutes' time, they are incredibly spicy, they are incredibly hot, and I have seen you almost comatose at that fact. Now, you're probably a bigger spice guy than the two of us. I'm not great with spicy things. I used to be, sadly not now, and I can't remember the last time that I had something spicy. And I'm just throwing myself into the deep end with this thing. Like, I've got a bowl right here.
No, you're not.
You've
seen the deep end.
Oh, I have seen the deep end. There is a ×2, so there is potential for a sequel, but these are just ×1 noodles. These are just regular, like, hot and spicy. And when I put the sauce onto these noodles today, it looked like black orc blood. So if anything's black, you know that it's going to be spicy as shit when it comes to sauces. So, yeah, I mean, we don't have the same thing. I haven't used the same noodles out of the packet. I've made my own. These are rice noodles. I've added things like chicken sausage to this.
As they should be.
I've added a bit of cheese to them. But the fact of the matter is, I have noodles and I have the sauce. And the sauce here is key.
We're also going to talk about Star Wars, I promise. I think we should probably just throw that out there for people who are patiently waiting to hear that.
Yes, I will say the last thing, I've came armed with a bottle of water and a cup of milk. So, should I need them?
Yes, also, that's a great idea. Yeah, Cole. Yeah, I see what you're saying there.
I can now see the live comments too. Okay, this.
I'm just getting over a cough, by the way. But yeah, Cole Schubert, a regular from my comment section and just around YouTube, I've noticed, said the first 5 minutes of Rise of Skywalker should have been a cliffhanger from The Last Jedi, and Broom Boy should have been the end of Rise of Skywalker. I like that ending. That's in fact, we do have an idea for the ending that does include Broom Boy.
Yeah, it's something we discussed. We haven't, obviously, none of these ideas that we have are completely set in stone yet. We're kind of spitballing ideas for. It's going to be when we get all of this footage together and know what we have to work with. But I don't know if I brought up using Broom Boy again at the end. We have two possible endings essentially for the Rise of Skywalker. One that more closely follows the theatrical version, and then one that we're going to try and piece together. Spoiler
alert, by the way.
Yes. I'm assuming that everyone in this chat has already seen Rise of Skywalker. I'd be very surprised if people haven't already. But yeah, and the one of the possible endings does include Broom Boy at the end, and that legacy of Skywalker, and one person dreaming that there can be something great.
One young boy on the streets of Corellia hopes to fly amongst the stars.
Yes, something like that. Yeah, he's going to be a flyer. He's going to be a driver.
Going to be a pilot. But before we start, do we any questions about Skywalker? I just want to kind of get them out of the way before we do this, so I don't have to stop in the middle to answer them, or say I'm not going to answer them. Ooh, even tagging a Palpatine reveal at the end. Yeah, I agree.
I think it would have still been out of play. Like, just I'm not happy with the decision that Palpatine's in the trilogy anyway.
Agreed.
Flat out. But if you're gonna do it, then teasing it over a period of 2 years for audiences to think about it, rather than just getting it all out there in an opening title crawl, is a much better way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I still think war is worse than the dead speak.
But it is war. Like, what's the problem with that? If there's any problem with the opening crawl of Episode 3, it's that there are heroes on both sides. That doesn't make any sense. I'm fine with war. The dead speak is probably the most memeable and quotable line for me out of the entirety of The Rise of Skywalker, more so than any line in that entire film. It's that opening crawl, that first sentence, because I just thought it was laughably bad.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say laughably bad, but not the best approach. And I think putting that in Fortnite is also not the best approach.
Yes, no, put it in the goddamn movie and not like some terribly... Well, it's a popular video game, I guess, but I've never got
terribly
into it.
Popular.
Terribly popular, yes, indeed. And unfortunately, it made its way into Avengers Endgame as well, didn't it? I don't know if you can help Uncompetitive in the comments there. That seems to be more your forte than mine.
Oh, shit. Do you know where I could upload the Star Wars Sequel Trilogy I have been working on? I know that YouTube is completely inappropriate. So your best bet would be a hosting site like sdneditions.com or fireworkstudios.com. You'll have to contact the people who run those sites, though.
There's an interesting idea there from All One Nerd. Rey should have been a Force baby like Anakin. I guess that would potentially take away from the fact that Anakin's the chosen one and his sort of special quality there, or because we've been having some thoughts about how we can sort of put Rey across in our fan edit, our duology of the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, we're also, it's only going to, I think we're going to be doing only 2 movies with a complete overhaul.
Yeah.
Despite Last Jedi being my favorite of the 3, I think it can be taken apart and used to reinforce the other 2.
Shall we? Are we gonna? Is it time? I'm just going purely for the
Get
noodle.
the fuck out of here, Devin. Love you, buddy.
Okay.
Sorry, I was reading the chat.
Okay, on your mark.
Okay.
It's good. It's really good. It's really good.
Aragorn?
Oh, it's when it catches your throat. You know what it? It's fine when you first eat it, and then it catches you a bit. Oh, that's good. That's good. Don't give in to fear. Oh, I've got a whole fucking bowl of these to eat. Okay, we can do it. We can do it.
So now we have a document that we've been putting our ideas on. What the beginning of this document? Fuck. Is essentially my first attempt at just being like, okay, in an edited story, what would it be? And so I put have the first movie be mostly The Force Awakens, followed by the Luke, Rey, and Kylo stuff from The Last Jedi. Tease either Palpatine or we're talking about some sort of Sith spirit, maybe Valkorian from Knights of the Eternal Throne and Knights of the Fallen Empire. The expansions to the Old Republic MMO. Then the second movie would start on Exegol with Kylo Ren, return and have Hux tell him that the rebels are on the Elenium system, and go with the beginning of Last Jedi. Were we thinking about keeping the hyperspace tracking?
I'm not sure. It's something it's something we've discussed. I know that. I think we could probably get rid of it. I think it'd be pretty easy to. Should we actually say sort of bare bones where the divide between the films is going to be? What we're thinking about so far?
Go. I mean, do you have somewhere you want to something you specifically want to say?
Just that no, just so people have a sort of frame of references where this duology is going to be broken up, and then we can sort of delve into it. If we get the bare bones out, oh my god, if we get the bare bones of it out there, and then we can sort of zoom in and pick it apart. So obviously, movie one is going to be predominantly Force Awakens. Like there's no getting around that. That's going to be the bulk of the movie. And we're going to have I think we're going to end it with the throne room sequence with the death of Snoke and the Praetorian Guard fight. That's going to be sort of like your big action finale. So really, movie one is going to be Rey's story and the setup for mostly Kylo's. And then I would say that the second movie is more Kylo's. Ultimately, the theme we wanted to bring into it is this theme of duality, light side, dark side, and sort of the mergence of the two at the end, possibly romantically still, like the final movie. But having Rey as this force of light who is tending towards the dark side, and then on the flip side, you've got Kylo Ren, who is tending towards the light. He is torn between the two. And then hopefully by the end, the two can find some kind of mutual agreement. That's essentially where we're going to block it off. And then I think the second movie is going to be, we're going to open with Exegol. We're going to open with the introduction of our main antagonist, obviously going off of what you just said. We don't want it to be Palpatine. We've got a bunch of different ideas that we're spitballing at the moment. And then we're also taking a lot of the structure and moments from 8 and interspersing them throughout 9. So I know, for example, the whole Finn, Rose, and Phasma stuff from The Last Jedi is going to be during the big climactic finale of 9. Exactly, yeah. Because we want each character to have a function and have some kind of arc. So you'll have Finn, who started as a stormtrooper, defected to the Resistance, and then ultimately he uses that trait of being a stormtrooper to then infiltrate at the end of the final movie in order to, I don't know, is it going to be to weaken their shields or weaken their defenses, whatever it happens to be in 9 that they're trying to do to disable the ships.
We don't have the footage.
Yeah.
Which makes a big portion of this kind of pointless, but at the same time, it's also the only time we can do it because the ideas are as possible as they're ever going to be.
Yeah, and I mean, this is also a great opportunity for everyone in the chat right now to, critique our ideas, our initial ideas, and, help us craft it and change it ultimately, because this is going to be I don't know if this is going to be a community thing, but whilst we're in this chance right now, we may as well take it. So if we've got any way off base ideas, then just let us know.
Star Wars Story fan said, I'm not a fan of Ivan Ortega per se, but he did use deleted footage to extend Luke and Rey's training, and it justifies her growth in her abilities and makes Luke less of a quitter. I mean, I'm just going to say, I like quitter Luke. Spice.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm dabbing into the milk right there. Oh, that's good. That's good. That helps.
You should try beer.
I will say,
hey, Punk.
It's spicy. It's not quite as bad as I was expecting. I think I'm coping. Actually, you know what? No, I'm going to get a big... I'll make this fair. Right. Yeah, so...
I'm getting kind of red.
So we both watched, and I think we reviewed as well, didn't we? The Ivan Ortega cut of The Last Jedi. There's a lot of good stuff in there. There's a lot of bad stuff in there.
Oh, yeah.
If he's going with the angle, which he obviously was, of trying to chase after that more heroic Luke that we're used to from the original trilogy, then I think he did a good job of that. I do really like the training montage. You've also had a go at editing a training montage yourself, which I also really liked. If not,
mine doesn't change music halfway through. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I'd say your edit of the montage is definitely one that I would like to use. It ultimately depends of which direction we want to take Luke. We can either have we are going to have him. It's not going to be a force projection at the Battle of Crate. We will say
Most
that.
likely.
We are going to try and have him use the footage from Episode 9 and maybe from some other places as well. Of once Rey has already left, levitating the X-wing out of the water. Using the deleted scene that you also edited. Let's see if I can remember the controls. Flying to Crate and him actually being present there during that moment, because I think that's a good moment for Luke. He's stepping up, he's getting out of his comfort zone of the island, and he's actually stepping up and being that hero. So whether we do have it where we've got cowardly Luke and then he has that turn and that redemption for himself, or whether we are going to try and get a more consistently through line of Luke being more courageous. We're unsure at the moment, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. Sorry, Star Wars Story just put, the one thing I would change in the sequels is the lightsaber appearances. They are not consistent. Hell, you could barely see the blue blade on the island. Yes. I think that's because of how they decided to do the props. Because they did the almost Force effects lightsabers. Because it was against a blue sky. It was like what you hear about the beginning of Return of the Jedi. Jesus, sorry, my mouth hurts.
Yeah, so in terms of the structure, a lot of people are saying that obviously Palpatine's broadcast should have been the end of, The Last Jedi, and then that would have set up for 9. In terms of the structure of how we've got it at the moment, we are moving. So the Last Jedi footage will sort of end at the throne room scene. That will be the fight. It's not then going to go on to the Battle of Crate straight away. We're playing with the idea of moving Crate to movie 2 with our 2-movie edit of the trilogy. And we were going to try and have Crate as be like the end of Act 1 big action set piece. Now, the only trade-off with that is that when you get to movie 2, you're not going to have any Luke scenes preceding that moment. So your first and only glimpse of Luke, essentially, for the most part, is going to be the Battle of Crate, where he shows up for like 5 minutes and has his moment with Leia. Now, the problem with that is that you don't sort of get, in one movie, your emotional consistency and build up to that moment. That's going to be in movie 1. And that moment is going to be split between 2 movies. So I'm unsure about that at the moment. However, if you do move the Battle of Crate into movie 1, not only are you going to have pretty much the entirety of Force Awakens and pretty much all of your core story of The Last Jedi there, when you get to movie 2, you're pretty much going to have no material to work with from what you've already used before.
We also, by the way, we could have a burning of the temple in movie 2.
This is true, yeah.
So that gives us a little bit more to work with. Also, for the ending, I know we touched on it a bit earlier, but we said we had 2 possible endings, and you vaguely described half of one.
Yes. So, do you want me to take the more theatrical ending and you take the edited version, because that's going to bring into some ideas of some flashback scenes you want to do with Kylo Ren?
I have no idea. Oh wait. So wait, which one did you offer?
The more theatrical one.
Oh, theatrical. I sorry, misheard you. Yeah, go. Yes. Are you going to color? Hang on, wait. Color correct Force Ghost Luke. He's not going to be in a Force. He's not. We're not using that uncompetitive.
So ending of the second movie, final movie now. If we do go with the more theatrical ending of Rey going to Tatooine, again, this is spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen it, but I think everyone in the comments already has. I know that in the Force Vision, we're considering adding Luke to the Force Ghost. Not Luke, sorry. Anakin alongside Leia and Luke. But Kylo,
okay.
but Kylo Ren's going to stay alive. He's not going to die at the end. an ending that we're playing with is obviously when Rey dies after beating Palpatine. Kylo Ren force heals her, dies himself, but we're moving the moment to where Leia dies until that moment. So when Leia becomes one with the Force, she is essentially taking her son's place in that moment of death, which brings Ben back to life. And then we're going to have a scene where both of them are on Tatooine together. Maybe we'll have the burying of the lightsabers. We haven't really decided yet. And in terms of the identity, where if we're doing the whole name drop thing, she's going to say she's Rey Solo, right? Is that the idea that we had with that?
Yeah.
So I guess Rey will be a good waifu with Kylo Ren on Tatooine, and the saga will continue. And they will have...
Also, Han and Leia were more parent figures to her than Luke.
Yes, and they will have beautiful babies together in the old burnt-out interior of the Lars homestead.
And their noses will be enormous.
Yes. I don't know anything about that.
I don't. Do you? I don't. I'm not a good judge of nose. D-Punk, we can't cut Rose if we plan to keep the supremacy stuff during Battle of Exegol. Sorry.
We can say, though, that we are getting rid of Canto Bight. If
We're not
we
keeping Palpatine's STN.
We can get rid of Canto Bight. Honestly, the main core narrative of Last Jedi for me that worked was all of the Rey, Kylo, and Luke stuff for the most part. And that will be the main... So once Rey, I assume, flies off at the end of 7, I'm assuming we will probably have to cut back to Finn and Poe in some regard, but it's going to be very minimal, I think, and it's mostly going to focus on Rey. And as we say, what the story of this duology is that we're doing is going to be the story of Rey and Kylo. Inherently, that is the story, and everything else around it is going to have to serve that story. That's going to be the focus.
Also, by the way, we've said that we were going to end after the throne room scene in 8 for the end of 7.
Yeah.
Also, after that, I was planning on having Rey return to. So Rey will not hug Leia when Han dies. Rather, when she returns after the whole Snoke shit. And she will help with the evacuation when the First Order shows up, or she and Leia will be off training while Holdo takes command of the fleet.
And this is where we differ, we see, because
Holdo will Holdo that Hol does ho well.
You still want to include Holdo. I want to get rid of Holdo completely. Pointless character. I want, like many cuts have done, I want to do the Admiral Akbar light speed into a ship. We'd have to move that till the very end. But when you see how many Star Destroyers get wiped out in that maneuver, I don't know if he pretty much takes out the entire fleet when he does that, because ultimately, if he does that and there's still a bunch of ships that they need to fight and nothing's really changed, that will take away from that moment. So, again, unsure on the placement of that scene just now.
Wait, weren't we also thinking of something else? Oh my god. Look at the chat. That's funny.
What, Holdo should sacrifice herself in this?
Yes. Wrong ship. Turns out everything was on the much larger ship. I don't fucking know. It's...
I think you just said this, but DD Punk about just cutting Rose completely. I don't think we can. We can't get rid of her completely, but we can limit the effects of her. And he also says Captain Phasma can die on. Captain Phasma can die on Starkiller Base if you're doing that storyline. We actually want to kill Phasma during sort of like the big action finale. So you've got Rey and Kylo dealing with Palpatine. You're going to have Finn and Rose dealing with Phasma and the stuff on the ship, and then you've got Poe sort of like leading the resistance in the air. So each one has a part to play and is actually doing something of worth. rather than riding space horses on the edge of a Star Destroyer, which is not going to be in the cut.
No. Maybe that's how they get on, but I don't. I doubt. I realized that we said your ending and then went off on a tangent and didn't go into the more edity one.
Yes. Just before we continue, Uncompetitive says, so you're only making 2 movies out of the footage of the 3 sequel trilogy films. Yes. So we're essentially just combining we're truncating the trilogy down to 2 films, to a duology. That's the plan.
Yes. Also, fun fact, no such thing as a quadrilogy.
That's true.
It's a tetralogy.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what the Alien Collector's box says.
Or the Saw box set as well.
Yeah. Really? Gee. Wait. There were like 7 Saws.
When the first 4 were released, they released a combination of them all.
Okay. But the other ending idea that we had was this would either use some heavily rotoscoped Adam Driver footage or would be completely Battlefront and then subsequently deepfaked. But the idea would be to have Rey and Ben sitting in the Falcon watching a holovid of Chewie reuniting with his family. #holiday special. The 2 smile at each other, and then you cut to like the dice. Just hang on. No, they're right here. The dice. And then Falcon jumps to light speed, cut to Broom Kid seeing the light speed take off.
And it's like they can inspire people all across the galaxy.
Yeah, that's like the symbolism of the kid they're gonna have when they fuck.
Or maybe the kid looks up and goes, Kylo Ren, you killed my father. I will grow to be the most powerful Jedi of all time and avenge my parents' death.
What father are you referring? What? Are you suggesting that Broom Kid is Ben Skywalker?
No, I'm suggesting that the Broom Kid's parents were killed by Kylo Ren at some point. And
I know, I'm saying it's Luke.
Well, that...
Because he's looking at the sky, and then the music plays, and it's like Binary Sunset. How you doing with the?
I'm going good. It's not as spicy as I thought it would be. My mouth is tingling, and I do have to take the occasional milk and water break, but I think ×2 is going to be the one.
Retrospect, beer, not great for spice. But really good at forgetting that your mouth hurts.
All One Nerd says using anything other than film footage is a terrible idea, breaks the immersion. When needs must.
Right.
And if with the right rotoscoping and right lighting and shadows and effects work, it can work. But I will agree it is very hit and miss if it's done quite sloppily. DD Punk 18 says, I think Palpatine's scenes should be spread out throughout the whole movie. Kylo is looking behind Snoke's back to find Palpatine after his broadcast message because he knows his backstory and power. That was one thing I was thinking of, is that should we be aware of Palpatine's presence in Episode 7, like the first movie, and not just dump it all into the second? Because ultimately, you're going to have the same pitfalls as befell Rise of Skywalker. But then are you throwing too much into the first movie?
Yeah, I prefer the idea that whatever we end up using, even if it's a giant snake, should just be teased in the first one.
You should explain the giant snake.
What do you mean?
Because you've just randomly said maybe it's a giant snake. Maybe there are some people in the comments that don't know what you're talking about.
I'm sure they all get it.
Okay.
Hey, if you don't get it, tell me in the comments. Not that there's going to be any of you who don't get it. Okay, yeah, I'll explain. No, in Clone Wars, when Yoda went to Moraband, all these Sith appeared to him like a bunch of snakes together to look like another snake.
And we do have footage of a giant snake to use from Rise of Skywalker.
And the Chamber of Secrets.
In all seriousness, we're not going to have Kylo and Rey go against a giant snake. That's just, just throwing that out there.
Yeah, we're not doing. We might do something with that whole spirit idea, but I don't think it's going to be a giant snake.
So, and this is where we're going back and forth on this as well. My idea for the main villain is, because I think I'm pretty much unanimous in saying here that bringing Palpatine back is a mistake. It was a desperate attempt by the studio, by the writers, in order to get a antagonist into the movie, and they dipped back into the well and brought Palpatine back. That to me ruins the ending of not just Return of the Jedi, but the entire saga story that it was building up to, the first 6 movies. Palpatine needs to be gone. So what the idea was that we had planned is that the villain they go up against in 9, in place of Palpatine, is going to be a physical manifestation of the dark side itself. Now, this is still a shit idea, but you kind of have to make the best with what you've got. This is going with the idea that, obviously, in the movie, Palpatine can throw his voice. He does a Snoke voice. He does a Vader voice. He obviously has his own voice. So running with that idea and having the Sith Eternals, these cultists, worshipping essentially the dark side itself, and I am all the Sith. This energy, this entity, contains all the spirits of every single Sith member, or at least the major players anyway. So with that in mind, we can use audio and dialogue from a wealth of material. You can have Darth Bane in there, you can have stuff from the Old Republic in there, and all these Force users and everything like that, to cobble together new dialogue and have him almost be like a shapeshifter. He can merge in and out of all of these different energies and characters and people. He is essentially the dark side itself that they have to go up against. I don't know. We were also playing with the idea that when Palpatine gets thrown into the Death Star reactor at the end of Return of the Jedi, the blue mist that swirls up the plug hole kind of thing, that blue mist is that energy, that entity that then goes on. So Palpatine, his essence and his body died, but that essence of the dark side within him then permeates between the next 2 Sith that are going to be, cropping up at some point. That energy essentially continues, and it's only with Rey channeling the power of all the Jedi, the combined effort of the Jedi, that finally overthrows the dark side, essentially.
What is your idea on competitive? Also, I was listening. I just also wanted to ask on competitive what an idea was. Also, alternatively to the just a culmination of the dark side idea, which leaves for a lot of just seemingly disconnected voices. This is kind of an idea I pulled from the Duel of the Fates script, but have it be one ancient Sith who has just been stealing the Sith souls and making himself more powerful. I was going to use Valkorion from Knights of the Fallen Empire. Yeah. Eternal Throne. Those are the 2 DLC. Kylo is seen asking me. Kylo is seen asking Vader's master for guidance, and we hear Vader's voice reply and tell him how to kill Snoke. Vader's ghost is teased as the main protagonist, replacing Palpatine. Bear with me, as I know this doesn't make sense straight away. I think you mean antagonist. Protagonist is the good guy, and Palpatine wasn't the... No.
Well, no, he does mean protagonist.
But then he's replacing Palpatine.
He's asking Vader's master for guidance, and Vader is telling him to kill Snoke. So he's telling Kylo to overthrow the main bad guy, essentially.
While you're right, he also says that replaces Palpatine. Wait, the reason why
Replace
Kylo
it. Yeah.
the reason why Kylo needs Vader to tell him how to kill Snoke is that Snoke seems weak to be killed so easily by Kylo. I mean antagonist. I did
Okay.
mean antagonist.
Right.
Fuck you, Chris.
It could be interpreted both ways. My bad. I don't know how easy that would be in terms of voiceover and using audio from Rebels and other
We could get
assorted
Jesse
Vader.
Gomez to do it.
Mm-hmm.
He did the voice in Star Wars series.
And speaking of Vader, actually, we did one, which is already a fan film that we both really like, and we wanted to take elements of it and repurpose it. Maybe is the Kylo Ren versus Darth Vader fight scene, which you can find on YouTube. It's a great fight scene. We wanted to use that as a way of being a physical fight manifestation of Kylo banishing that idyllic image of Vader and rising above it and being his own person.
I think I can go at the very beginning of 8, which is the last one, by the way.
Well, it's just going to be the fact that he's in the mask in that scene, though. That's the only, the downside.
The mask doesn't need to be real because Vader isn't real and the Forest isn't real. Bless me. That'll make sense when we get some more work. Oh, are we keeping Starkiller Base? Good question, DD Punk 18. And I'll keep reading that on competitive after Chris answers this one.
Oh, I'm answering this one. Okay, right.
You're the one who's fucking adamant about this, so it's on you.
Okay, I really don't want Starkiller Base to be a thing. I'm fine with Starkiller Base being just that, no more than a base. I don't want it to be another Death Star. I don't need another Death Star in this movie. Can we move away from that whole imagery of a planet being destroyed by a giant death planet? I don't need it. The whole X-Wing attack on it as well and blowing it up at the end. Don't need it at all. So if we can somehow keep Starkiller Base being a consistent base throughout all the movies for the most part, then I will be fine with that. But I don't want it to be a Death Star.
Well, as far as making it not a Death Star, our best bet would be to use images of it in its early construction as seen in something that I won't spoil.
Yes.
Now, Uncompetitive says, so Kylo is worried he isn't evil enough, no dialogue here, but Vader impersonator tells him that it is because Kylo hasn't fully fallen to the dark side yet, to the frustration of Snoke. I need these to be okay. That Kylo can lure Rey. So hang on. It seems like that's a continuation of a sentence, but I don't see how that's a continuation of the sentence, which is why it's confusing. The Kylo can lure Rey to the supremacy because she senses that there is still good in him. If he was fully evil, he wouldn't fit Vader's plans to have her help Kylo fight the guards. Okay.
The thing is, as well, though, from a movie standpoint, and surprises throughout the movie. Now, I don't like the fact that Snoke was killed in that way in movie 2. I do think that it would have benefited had we have got him to that final movie and had him be the antagonist, but we can only work with what we've got. If you insinuate that Kylo Ren is always going out to kill Snoke throughout the movie with Vader dialogue, that will take away from the surprise in that moment of Snoke actually being killed by Kylo during that altercation. Perhaps.
Yes.
BB Funk Starkiller Base used to be a Jedi temple. You would have to go there to become a Jedi and one with the Force in the Old Republic until they stopped using it.
Well, we see it in well, it's confirmed that Starkiller Base used to be Ilum, which is the planet where Jedi would get most of their lightsaber crystals. I guess they also got them on Jedha.
How did they hollow out a planet?
Well, they started 5 years after Revenge of the Sith.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, where were we?
I'm trying to think of anything else we can add. We had another idea of where when you have Kylo Ren and Rey fighting Palpatine at the end of movie 2, you want it to be Anakin's lightsaber and Luke's green one from Return of the Jedi.
Yes, I wanted to because Rey will not be going back to Act 2, not Act 2, you fucker. Because Rey will be going back to Act 2, will not be going back to Act 2. There's no reason she won't be getting Leia's lightsaber. So instead, since Luke is physically going to be on Crate, he will kill Luke, who is using his green lightsaber. Which then, when Rey finds the dagger in his collection room, instead will just use the green saber.
Mm-hmm.
Skip ahead to Kylo trying to run over Rey on. I'm not reading that.
Hasana.
And shut up. And wanted her to about to lose. And I wanted her to be about to lose the fight with him, rotoscoped, and have Rey use the Force to probe Kylo's mind and throw him off balance. I need to rewatch this movie because I feel like the footage makes sense. I just don't know what the footage is. And I think if I saw the footage again, I'd be able to piece together what you're saying.
I mean, if anything, you could. So one of the things you wanted to introduce into it, and I know this is going back to someone's previous point saying that you shouldn't use footage from other things, but one thing that you wanted to try was to introduce a series of flashbacks to Kylo Ren's childhood, which would sort of have their own arc throughout the movies. Now, we wanted to use the kid from Stranger Things. Obviously, this is just an idea at the moment. We won't know until we actually get the footage and see how we can work with it. Was it Finn Wolfhard? Is that his name?
I don't fucking know.
The black-haired kid from.
I don't watch Stranger Things. I just know that there's someone in Stranger Things people say should be young Kylo Ren.
Yeah, he's going to be in the new Ghostbusters film. He was in the It Chapter 1 film as well. People who know what I'm talking about. And we were going to use footage of him and sort of mirror the flashbacks of Rey's childhood where she was abandoned. This scared sort of boy of Kylo Ren being left at the Jedi Temple. I don't know if he's going to be feeling neglected or anything like that. I don't really know where we're going with this. But essentially, it's going to be tying into the gold dice that his dad gives him.
Well, do you want me to go over the exact shots I was thinking?
Sure.
So, you had the idea of introducing it with the interrogation in Force Awakens. I think that's a great idea. Essentially, just imagine the fucking kid from Stranger Things just looking down, being sad. And take that shot, and when Rey is being probed and then starts probing him back, just suddenly flash to the kid looking sad, and then Ben has the reaction, and then of course you cut to Snoke. The scavenger resisted you. That's the beer talking. Then fast forward to you're just a child in a mask, and he's in the elevator and he starts smashing before he starts smashing the fucking thing. We flash back to when he was a child, not in a mask, i.e. the Stranger Things kid, and then he smashes the mask to try and kind of disconnect from the whole being a child thing. Fast forward later to when he's on Crate, and picks up the dice. Picks up the dice. Yeah, we'll figure something else, DD Punk. Figure something out, DD Punk. He said we have no idea what we'd use, and you're right. Neither do I, because I haven't watched the show. But I'm sure there are shots we can use. But then when he's picking up the dice on Crate, since Luke was physically there, the dice are not going to disappear. Instead, he's going to pick them up. We're going to cut to a shot of them, or cut to the shot, and right before they start to disappear, we're going to flash back to young, sad Kylo looking down. Cut to a child's hand holding these. Stop moving so it can be seen. They're the fucking dice, okay? I'm sorry for the strong language. I'm in pain and a little drunk.
I'm totally fine.
Go fuck yourself.
I feel fine. I told you this was going to happen. I told you the noodles would have no effect on me.
I told you you could go fuck yourself, and yet here we are.
So your reaction to these noodles all this time has been a complete sham.
I've been faking this entire time. Anyway, but what was I saying? Yeah, on Crate, when he picks up the dice and they don't disappear, we'll flash back to young him looking down and seeing the dice, and then we'll cut back to they said his name, and so I'm just going to grab it. Finn Wolfhard. Cut back to Finn Wolfhard looking up, and then we'll cut to a POV shot of the sky with the Falcon taking off, similarly to Rey's parents taking off in the vision on... It's Takodana. That's the name of the planet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you'll hear like Luke say, "Okay, let's get started." Anyway, Uncompetitive has been completing his stuff. Let me just figure out where we left off. Where's the one?
Okay. I've been reading them as we're going along. The only problem is that this seems like almost like a complete rewrite that would need to have been refilmed. I don't think this is going to be possible to edit in any way with the footage that we have.
Let me see. Rey learns all about Kylo talking to the evil ghost of Vader. Audio on TFA through her probing his mind. Okay, I see what you're saying there. We have a montage here, and then Vader tells Kylo to go to Mustafar, brings his mask and armor to his castle, place it in the altar. Okay, interesting. Behind which we see evil Vader's Sith Force ghost form out of column. Black smoke tell Kylo what to do. Lack of... Jesus Christ. I mean, to be fair, we do have... if it were like animated Battlefront footage, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But even that. Lack of footage here will require this to be CGI. But as everyone is wearing armor and it is not insurmountable. That's true. And should not be worth it to tease main antagonist better than Palpatine. Rise of Skywalker will be literally Rise of Anakin Skywalker as evil Sith Force Ghost.
Okay, that bit there. I want to talk on this point. So, I don't think we're calling the last episode The Rise of Skywalker, but I mean, to me, the prophecy of the Chosen One is really important to Star Wars. Like, the original 3 films as they were was just sort of, obviously like Vader's redemption, Luke helping his father, everything like that. It's a good father and son bonding movie. When you add the 6 films in towards the saga and everything like that, it is ultimately the story of the rise, fall, and eventual redemption of Anakin Skywalker. That is what the story was turned into with the saga. The whole prophecy of the Chosen One, bringing balance to the Force. Anakin did that by defeating Palpatine and restoring order. Now, obviously, with the sequel trilogy, that kind of renders that whole storyline completely mute, because ultimately Anakin paused the dark side for 30 years, which then eventually rose up again with another Death Star, with another evil lord, and Palpatine was apparently still alive. So that completely undoes the ending of that movie. Now,
Luke's still alive.
Yeah, but in order to keep that prophecy still intact, I wanted Anakin to have a part to play in the ending of Rise of Skywalker more than he did in the actual movie. You just sort of hear Hayden Christensen's voiceover in a really quick blink and you'll miss it cameo. I want to see Force Ghost Anakin and Anakin.
Blink your ears.
What? Sorry?
You can't blink your ears.
I can't blink my ears. What?
Blink and you'll miss it. You cannot blink your ears.
It's a fucking expression, dude. Cut me some slack. You know what I mean? But I want Anakin to have a point in this story. Now, again, I know this was a theory. I swear I read this online around the time of Last Jedi as to why Rey is so powerful. Now, she could just be like a random Force child like Anakin was, like a new chosen one, but I don't like that. I like Anakin being the one chosen one in the prophecy. We had the idea of maybe that Rey is some kind of reincarnation of Anakin Skywalker, and sort of, that explains why she's super powerful. Him through her ultimately does overthrow and bring balance to the Force again. But then that also makes it very, very awkward when you get to a possible romantic connection at the end with Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
And that it would be back into the incest territory and we'd come full circle back to A New Hope. So I don't want that, but I would like
poetry, so that it rhymes.
Yeah, but I would like it if maybe, I don't know, Anakin can somehow join in the fight, maybe, or I don't know if he's stood beside her as she deflects all the Force lightning back. Just have him be there. So that point there about
helps
the rise
him kill the snake.
Yes. So that comment there about the rise of Skywalker will then be about the literal rise of Anakin Skywalker as this evil Sith Force ghost. I don't like the idea of Anakin coming back as an evil Force ghost. He found his redemption in 6. He needs to still be redeemed. And having seen the Force ghost at the end of Return of the Jedi, he needs to be Anakin Skywalker. There will be a vision of Darth Vader, but obviously that's in Kylo Ren's head, and that's the image of his grandfather that he has. I would love to, if we could do a scene somehow, but again, voiceover would be really tough to get unless we could get someone who could do a mean Hayden impression, is to have a scene where Anakin communicates with his grandson and says that, I wasn't this, well, I was for a time, but I changed, man, I changed. And can help him find redemption that way. As it is, Han Solo kind of takes that role in Rise of Skywalker as that sort of entity that changes Kylo Ren's mind, but I would like Anakin to have a more proactive part in the duology somehow.
Just gonna finish. Well, I don't know if finish. I haven't read it, so I don't know how far he is. But I'm gonna keep going with uncompetitive as idea. It's fucking long.
Mm-hmm.
No offense to you, uncompetitive. It just is. The Rise of Skywalker will then. Oh, hang on, I read that already. The Rey is able to take one hand off the hilt of her lightsaber that she is using to oppose Kylo's blade, so she has her left hand free to force push Kylo away onto Chewie's land speeder. I don't know where we are. What? What
okay,
land speeder?
Here's the point about I'm not ruining Anakin's redemption. It seems that I am, and the interpretation that the dark side haunts Vader's mask and armor, whilst Anakin himself is a Jedi Force ghost. I don't know if that's sort of complicating the lore a little bit there in terms of what happens when a Jedi passes, because we've never seen. I guess you could argue this in like Clone Wars and stuff like that. We've never actually seen a Sith equivalent of them dying and getting some kind of extended life beyond the Force. That seems to be the thing that only a Jedi can do.
There's the thing in Clone Wars where Yoda goes to Mormand and you see the ghosts of the Sith, but it doesn't seem so much that they're like Force ghosts and they're like one with the Sith. More, they just are like refuse to fucking die, and are just clinging to the physical world with the Force. And maybe that's what's happening here with the giant snake. It's not actually a giant snake, but I'm going to keep calling it giant snake because honestly that flows better than Sith spirit. It is established in the lore that objects can be haunted by the Sith. Yeah. You're referring to Lord Momin. I probably, unless you're not, and you're talking about something else, in which case, okay.
One thing I was just thinking about now, after having read that, about what was it here? Palpatine Plagueis let Palpatine kill him in his sleep so he could possess his subconscious and give him ideas that he thought were his own. If you have that concept of, as the rule of two progresses down the line, if some kind of consciousness does pass between each person in some way, and I don't know who the host could be. Maybe it could be Valkyria. Maybe it could be some unidentified person. when Palpatine died, maybe his consciousness and stuff went into Snoke, and then Snoke rose up, and then when Snoke died, all of the collective consciousness of all the Sith before go into this one all-powerful being that is being worshipped on Exegol, maybe. So it's like a sort of chain
Sith
reaction down the line. Yeah.
I mean, to contradict that, we have already seen sort of a Sith god. We've seen the three, or actually not the three, the ones, because I guess they're different enough to not be three rather than three ones.
Mm-hmm.
In Clone Wars, which you're not a fan of, right?
It's when it's good, it's great. When it's not, it's awful. And there are more awful episodes than good in Clone Wars.
Well, I'm talking about specifically with the episodes with the ones.
Oh yeah, no, I hate that.
I love those. I fucking love them. Can we just take a second in the chat and talk about how great those episodes were, and like how fucking stupid Chris it? No, just in general, just those.
Which is why I kind of hate my idea of, but again, making the best of a bad situation, the physical manifestation of the dark side. I hate that literal physical. Oh, you've got like a wizard guy, and on his left you've got an angelic lady clad in white who is the symbol of good, and on his right you've got an evil emo-looking guy dressed in black who is the embodiment of evil. It's just, and the balance, it's a literal balance. It should be a metaphorical balance, a spiritual balance, not a this person here is this actual. I just hate that. I hated those episodes.
Those are some good episodes. Anyway, continuing with... Oh, holy shit, there's more. Continuing with his plan. It is established lore, haunted. What's really going on is complicated, but isn't seen on screen, but interpreted as part of the puzzle that puts a new spin on the entire franchise. Okay. Oh, fuck. I dropped my headphones. Wait, what? Here, what has really been going on is Plagueis is Palpatine kill him in his sleep, subconscious, as you said, or as you pointed out, that he said. Palpatine was given the idea to recruit Snoke in the prequel era. No need to show this, although I could. I have a thing. And tell him to go to the unknown regions and prepare for a military invasion of the galaxy. This is a contingency plan to be used in case Palpatine's political plan to seize power for the Republic was to fall for some region, so Ilum becomes Starkiller base, etc. This fixes the issue of who is Snoke, where did Snoke come from, where did the First Order start, how did they rise after the fall of the Empire? They predate it. Makes sense. Actually, they'd be using some of the... Although it doesn't make sense that their armor would be better. They'd have the same armor. Or, I guess the argument would be made that the First Order armor is between... Excuse me. That the First Order armor is between... Clone Trooper and Stormtrooper.
And then...
no, there's more.
Okay.
Listen, I've already fallen quite behind with this. Please don't make me fall behind more. So Snoke was Palpatine's secret apprentice who doesn't violate, and this doesn't violate the rule too, as Vader doesn't know about Snoke because he's hidden in the unknown regions. I mean, it still violates it. Vader doesn't know it violates it. Uncompetitive, man. This is a long essay. Lol. I mean, you're not wrong, punk. It's interesting. And I think there's some stuff to be pulled from this. I don't know if all of it can be pulled. Sorry, uncompetitive. Oh, okay, there's more. Plagueis has possessed Palpatine, and he is old. He gives the idea to take Anakin He gives the idea to take Anakin so Plagueis can use Anakin as a future host body. That worked out well on Mustafar. This plan goes awry when Obi-Wan burns Anakin and leaves his body in constant pain. I mean, you'd think that would be ideal for a Sith Lord. That's why Vader's so freaking powerful.
All this talk of like Plagueis and Snoke, it's reminded me of like one of the early ideas that we had, which I like this idea, and I know you fucking hate it. But I'm going to pitch it out here now, and I guess people can chip in and see if they like it or not. So, We're changing Snoke's name. We're not going to, but this is the idea of what I thought for this. I want to make Snoke Plagueis because I want to champion all those theories of who Snoke was. I think it's a problem that Snoke doesn't get a backstory, and I think that if you made him Plagueis, I think that's a pretty cool way of tying it into the prequels, which is a great way, makes it more of a cohesive whole. And you really don't need more backstory beyond that because you know him by name. You know that he's the ancient master of Palpatine. And
ancient is a strong word.
Well, whatever. It depends how old Palpatine is. We don't really know. Well, I guess he is a man, though. He's not some kind of like evil Sith creature. It depends how you infer that moment where he gets the lightning in his face, whether it was actually the lightning that made him scarred and deformed, or if he sort of unearthed some kind of inner Sith demon creature thing that changed his face. But yeah, so if you make Snoke Plagueis, then you instantly give him a backstory, and in the role of sort of escalation between films, how do you go bigger and badder than Palpatine? You do his master. You have the cut in his forehead.
Except why does he need to be bigger and badder?
It's how sequels go. That's been the MO of the sequel trilogy, right?
Except has it though?
Yeah. Here's Starkiller Base, which is like 100 times bigger than the Death Star.
Oh yeah, you got that going. It just seems like, I mean, it seems like with Plagueis being all
Rise of
so
Skywalker,
fucking uninspired, it seems like he was exclusive. Well, no, not uninspired. In fact, he was exclusively inspired. Fuck it. Watch the. All I'm gonna say is listen to the director's commentary in Last Jedi.
Everything bigger and badder. The entirety of the climax of Rise of Skywalker. We need more Force lightning. We need more strobes. We need more Star Destroyers than we've ever seen.
Listen, let's not include Rise of Skywalker.
Hey, I'm just saying. I'm just going with my point here. Anyway, so the
yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's because Force Awakens inspired less controversy. Let's be fair. Colin Trevorrow is not exactly a nice person. Like, he doesn't really fit with Disney's MO in the end.
Well, I don't know. I mean, the guy sort of rebooted the Jurassic Park franchise, which grossed over $1 billion, and is now still a very lucrative franchise. So we can do that. Even though I didn't like
PC thing.
Oh, right. Okay. I haven't really seen his arguments and stuff like that. But
from what I've heard, I'm not gonna like go saying any shit about nobodies, but from what I've heard, Travago doesn't really. That was the name, right? Travago. I just want to make sure I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Colin Trevorrow, yeah.
Trevorrow?
Trevorrow.
I've been saying it wrong because I've drank 5 pints since the start of the stream. Yeah, no, Trevorrow doesn't really. It's not my beef. It's just the fact that he's not exactly what Disney would want representing their company, if you catch my meaning. As in, like,
they've had a lot more questionable people involved with them.
Go on.
Not going to get.
Oh God! Don't tell me Kevin Spacey has been in a Star Wars movie.
Kevin Spacey is Plagueis.
Oh no!
There's been some stuff with Mulan, which I'm not going to go into, but the whole like Hong Kong situation.
Oh yeah, fair.
Things have been said.
Very excellent point.
Walt Disney himself was not a very nice person.
Oh no, he was not.
So yeah,
he hated Jews.
Yes, he did. But yeah, DD Punk finished the point I was making in the comments right there. That was literally going to be my next point. That I was going to say the scar on Snoke's face is from when Palpatine tried to kill him, so he would have like stabbed him in the head and like carved it down or something like that, and been really grisly with that. Now you'd probably have to come up with something obviously as to how Plagueis survived, because he was meant to have died. Now we don't have confirmation of that. We only have Palpatine's word. We have the line, ironic, he could save other people from death, but not himself. Guess what, Palpatine? Psych, yes, he could. And he could permeate death, and he did actually discover a way to do that. Palpatine didn't learn this. He didn't know how to do this. When we get to Rise of Skywalker, obviously Plagueis is then killed in Last Jedi, if we're changing Snoke's name to Plagueis. And then on Exegol, where you see the tubes of Snoke's, the old defective clone Snoke's, Either through voiceover or through implication, you could say that Plagueis, when he was with Palpatine, and maybe they were trying to figure out a way to cheat death, cloning could have been part of that. So you have Plagueis experimenting and trying all these different methods of cloning himself and permeating death. They're the remnants that you see on Exegol, those defective ones in the tube. And then Palpatine also may have experimented with some cloning, which is the withered, kept alive by machines one that you see on Exegol. And that is a clone of Palpatine that was made ages ago. That was one other possible way around it. So therefore, you still do technically keep Palpatine in the fold at the end, which again, I'm not okay with. So our options are we can either have it be ancient clones that are like all withered and decayed and not great, and he needs the essence from Rey and Kylo to fully rejuvenate himself to be like the Palpatine of old, or we have it where we do some kind of like Sith spirit that's contained with
like a giant snake,
like a giant snake of Siths, a Sith snake with lots of echo on its voice.
Siths.
There you go. So
now I've got a lot of uncompetitive to read, if you'll excuse me. This plan goes awry when Obi-Wan burns Anakin and leaves his body in constant pain. That's where I left it. Plagueis then seeks to corrupt Luke, which explains the Return of the Jedi's plot. When Vader kills Palpatine, the Sith Force goes to Plagueis that possesses him is free to haunt Ben Solo from the moment of his conception on Endor, because Ben was conceived on Endor. For those of you who wanted to know that. Where was it? Years pass and Luke checks on Ben and is surprised to see his nephew is suffering from a nightmare, which is unusual for a Padawan that meditates most of the day. This is a lot of stuff to be insinuated. Luke probes Ben's mind and see that he is seeing him in the role of Supreme Leader of the First Order. Luke does not try to kill him. Sorry. I made a mistake. You see, when I emphasize things with volume, it means they're in capitals. Luke does not try to kill him. Luke decides. No. Luke decides to talk to Ben the next morning and goes to leave his hut. But when he is at the threshold, he senses another presence in the rooms and turns to see a vague apparition. I assume, having not read the rest of this, he's going to pull out his lightsaber to fight that, and that's going to wake up Ben. Fuck! Why do I keep calling young Luke Ben? Fuck! Strike that. Reverse it.
This is turning into like a fan fiction that we're never actually going to be able to make. So
I don't even remember most of the middle. I'm sorry, I'm competitive, but there's just been a lot. I'm going to have to break this down later.
Kannst du mich grüßen? Hello, wie geht's? Ghost Star.
Oh shit, that's a lot. Kannst du mich? Yep. Oh, there's more competitive. Looks like I scared him away. Don't mess with me again, Ghost Star. What the fuck happened? Punk, explain.
Just so I've got a show of hands. Who likes the idea of Snoke being switched to Plagueis?
It is when Snoke is asleep that Plagueis to be Vader.
I either vote for culmination of Sith spirits that can throw its voice and channel different personalities of the previous Sith, or have it be an ancient clone of Palpatine and Snoke as Plagueis. So when they were experimenting with cheating death, it was involved with cloning technology and occult, which I believe is what the visual dictionary says, because we don't have any more to go on.
I haven't looked at the Rise of Skywalker visual dictionary. I mean, also, you're saying, should it be Plagueis or should it be a Sith spirit? We're talking about two different villains that we're replacing. Essentially, we could do both of those, because one of those is for Palpatine, the other one is for Snoke.
Well, this is true. So DD Punk says, yes, very good idea, Chris. Thank you. I'm doing this to prove a point here. But yeah, no, because then again, you know the whole, is it called ring theory, where like events repeat themselves in some
Oh,
way? Like,
get the fuck out of here with the ring theory.
I know, but like the whole Star Wars is built on that. The whole fucking uninspired, unoriginal storytelling. The whole, it's like poetry, it rhymes. You then ultimately have Plagueis having cheated death, being killed by another one of his apprentices again, by surprise. So that's again it being
Oh, right.
repeated.
Okay.
So then you have to question, obviously, that the Snoke, or the Plagueis that we see in The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi is a clone itself. And then obviously the Palpatine that we get in the next movie is also a clone.
Right. How do you show that it's a clone?
Well, you see the Bacta tanks in the next movie, and then I guess you'll need some kind of voiceover and explanation, or you'll need someone to do a mean Andy Serkis impression. There'd be ways to do it. I think you could do a close up of the tube. You could have like X-Men 2 flashbacks.
Ooh, which reminds me, I have to talk about another montage idea I had.
DD Punk says, honestly, if you're having Darth Plagueis cut out Palpatine,
No
this is the
chance.
problem though. You can't cut out Palpatine because he's so ingrained into Rise of Skywalker. You just can't do it. I would love to. If we could, I'd love to. And there's no way that you can deep fake. There's no way that you can rotoscope. There's no way that you can superimpose in all of those movements of Palpatine in Rise of Skywalker to be Snoke's character. You just can't do it. I wish you could. There's no way. Yeah.
I'm looking into 3D models of Lovecraftian monster people, because if I can find the fucking Wanders Nyarlathotep, I think Nyarlathotep would be a really good replacement for Palpatine. That's all I'm saying. He's very alien, creepy, thin person-esque, so he would have the same eye line.
Mm-hmm.
Just from an animating perspective, it makes sense. Also, I just said that I was. What did I just say about what I needed to do? Also, there's still more uncompetitive to read.
Last point. DD Punk says, "Don't make Darth Plagueis a clone." Fair point. I just think that you need some kind of setup then for the Palpatine stuff in terms of the cloning and cheating death and everything like that. You needed to talk about. It's something that I just said with my previous statement, and I've forgotten myself now as well. You're talking about 3D modeling. I don't know. It escapes me. Maybe it'll come back to you.
All right. Well, as I predicted, the Phantom over Ben scares Luke, and Luke pulls out his weapon to defend himself, which is a terrible misunderstanding because Ben wakes up and interprets it the way. I'm really okay with Luke just trying to kill Ben, just throwing it out there. Well, not trying to, but considering it.
I've got a question. So,
History with this sort of thing.
I don't have I don't have Audible or anything like that, but the Star Wars novels that come out, I know they do audiobooks for them, and I know obviously they have like voice actors doing them or like the reader or whatever, and they have music and sound effects in them. Did they ever do an audiobook for the Darth Plagueis novel? Because I'm thinking if we could get Plagueis dialogue in there somewhere, there might be a lot to mine from that old book. I don't think it's canon. I think it came out in that weird of transitionary period.
I've listened to it. It's not canon. There are so many member berries.
I'm just wondering if there's any dialogue that we could mine from that for Plagueis. Maybe it depends how his voice is from it.
It's an old eloquent British guy.
Oh, perfect. So the only problem is with that is obviously that you're then the Andy Serkis voice isn't really going to match unless you infer that he's a much older person than he is now, so he's aged, he's sort of decrepit, he's sort of like almost falling apart essentially. But yeah.
Also, as Uncompetitive says, alas, Luke was seen entering the hut, and then they only see Ben leave. The other trainee Jedi think that Ben has turned evil and killed their master. This could lead to the massacre scene, if only that were the case in canon, just throwing it out there. The ghost then possesses Snoke. Plagueis ghost then possesses. Wait, you just said the same thing twice. It is when Snoke is asleep and Plagueis can pretend to be Vader and trick him into killing Snoke. Okay. Just as when Palpatine killed Plagueis and became possessed by spirit. Kylo is possessed by the Plagueis spirit in 8. Fuck. It keeps jumping around and I keep losing where I am.
This sounds more convoluted than the entirety of Rise of Skywalker.
I'm not going to say no, but I don't remember the rest of it, so I can't say yes.
That's a very diplomatic answer.
I know. You call this a diplomatic solution?
No, I call it aggressive negotiations.
What's so aggressive about this? Why are you such a dick? Wow.
DD Punk says that Plagueis' voice would have aged a lot. It would have been about 80 to 90 years since Palpatine killed him. Perfect. Like, if he's
it would have gone from like a very eloquent, talkative, it's the most evil thing you've ever heard.
Well, I mean, he's still very well spoken. You know, he goes like, you know why I keep a cur around, a cur's weakness. You know, like that whole thing. Like he is still very well spoken, but he just obviously has the general, that kind of which is my favorite line from episode 7.
Supreme Leader, I take full responsibility. General!
It's just how he like stands up and everything. Like, I am most perturbed by this statement. No, I fucking love Andy Serkis in that. He was so underutilized in the sequels. Like, my god.
Kylo is possessed by Plagueis. I know it's complicated, but it's the hidden story of Plagueis throughout the entire saga. So I feel like most of this would be explained in a montage. Fuck,
You're gonna need a montage.
Speaking of montage, I had a montage I wanted to explain that I don't remember.
Oh, there we go.
Yep.
DD Fuck. I believe I take full responsibility. General! I should just start interrupting conversations in my everyday life in general. I should just start doing it. It'd be great.
Having the Phantom Menace possess Kylo and make him super evil ties the prequels to the sequels.
Do you know what also ties the sequels to the prequels? Having Snoke be Plagueis. Just saying. Get that connective tissue between movies.
Yeah, but can you explain that over the course of 15 comments?
Yes. How many words would you like me to get it under?
However many you're allowed in this one. I assume that's why it's multiple comments.
I mean, I could write a dissertation if I really so do wish, but
Snoke, he tries to kill Rey, then Luke, then Rey, then Leia Crate. So I don't know why people say Kylo is weak and no threat to Rey. Okay.
DD Punk says, I really want to edit conversations with you two over Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon in episode 1. With us two specifically, or he says, I really want to edit conversations with you two over Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon in episode 1.
Yeah, I don't know what you mean by that, DD Punk, but thank you.
Speaking of voices, we are going to completely rip out all of the Jedi voices in the end of Rise of Skywalker, because I believe the full list of Jedi has been revealed. You've got Ahsoka there, you've got Kaden, you've got some really random ones thrown in there too, like Kaiden, whatever his name is.
I don't know who you're talking about. Kaden is from Knights of the Old Republic, that edit we watched.
What's the name of Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character then in Rebels?
Kanan.
Oh. Kanan. You've got his voice, then you've got some really random ones in there too. You've got like Ayla Sakura, who had like no dialogue in the prequel trilogy. I know she was in the Clone Wars, but she was never really a prominent Jedi. And inherently, what we've been talking about, and one of the things we actually agree with in terms of these films, is that the only voices you should hear in that moment are the people that we've seen already become Force ghosts, or aware that they've become Force ghosts, i.e. Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, Yoda, Anakin, and Luke. Just the 5.
Maybe Ahsoka, because we haven't seen her.
I would rather keep it to the movies, because the movies are going to be the ones that people have seen. I get it, like, but even like seeing Maul in Solo, which I know he's alive in canon, is still very weird in terms of just solely movie canon.
I like the fact that Solo is like a giant episode of Clone Wars.
I guess so. Not a very good one. It's sort of like one that you really wish would end, and it kind of goes on for about 2 hours or too many episodes too long. But
do you want to try that sentence again?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
General, sorry. Subject change. Yeah, so ripping all those voices out there and replacing them entirely, and having the Force Ghost show up in person would be amazing as well. He have proven the concept, and it would have been amazing.
I have something for Rey's origin that could change.
Oh yeah, we'll go into that next. So DD Punk says, I think you should remove the voices for the end of episode 9 and just have the music. It might be a bit more powerful. That's not. I was actually considering that, like when I was hearing the music and it goes into space. I do think that's a very beautiful shot, but maybe you need something. Maybe if then the Force Ghosts show up, I don't know. But Rey needs an excuse to get back on her feet, and I quite like that the Jedi give her that pep talk. But yeah, if you want to talk about your proposed altered backstory for Rey.
So, one, we could just keep it as your parents were fucking drunks who sold you for drinking money, and that's fine.
Mm.
Very possible. But also, we could theoretically combine the second Death Star footage with this other Paradema, the desert planet.
Pasana.
I don't care. From Rise of Skywalker, with also some shots of Jakku. We could theoretically go with create the idea that Rey is this clone for some idea that Palpatine or whoever had. Possibly have it be Snoke's idea and have Snoke be trained by the giant snake. But because footage exists of like Daisy Ridley in an autopsy from a show, I think it was called like Silent Witness or something. Mm-hmm. Shut up! Sorry, my grandmother's upstairs. But the you've got things like just you can create a montage with that combined with her saying her parents were nobody. You cut some random footage probably from the Knights of the Eternal Throne trailer, the one with Senya and fuck, what's the daughter's name? Whatever the daughter's name, Valen. Yeah, I know, it's Valen. If you use footage of Senya from that trailer, you could imply that she was a Jedi, killed, and her DNA was used to make clones on Jakku. Then the Empire lost on Jakku, and the clones were essentially left to die. Or one, maybe two, just saying, maybe two, survives if we repurpose Dark Rey.
I do not agree with JX Editor on this.
Wow, I've been silently disagreeing with you this entire...
I know, I was quoting Phantom Menace, you hack fraud.
What?
When he goes like, I do not agree with the Jedi on this. Captain Panaka, come on.
I thought you said I disagree.
Yeah, he goes, I do not agree.
I do not agree. You said I disagree, I think. I don't know. I'll watch it later and find me wrong.
Fuck it. My reason against it is because I just think it convolutes the story. There's a lot reaching there from previous canon that isn't in the movies that would be very difficult to follow. And it just makes it quite a complicated backstory. I've now come to terms with the fact that Rey is no one from The Last Jedi, and
it makes sense.
And having seen how that continued into The Rise of Skywalker, where the best they could come up with is now she's a Palpatine, which raises even more questions as to how Palpatine got busy. I am totally fine with the fact that she's no one. The fact that she was no one wasn't really one of my biggest problems when I even went to see Last Jedi when it first came out. I had a lot of other problems with it. And I do think that...
Well, which
No,
is
Chris.
it, DD Punk?
No, Chris said I do not agree.
But he also
Oh,
said
Chris said disagree. Oh, I said both. Yes, is what I have to say.
Okay.
But if Rey is a nobody,
Thank you, Punk.
if Rey is a nobody, I'm thinking that we should possibly limit all of the hype and the build up to that reveal.
I think the build up to it should be kept. I think if it stays nobody, nothing should follow it.
Mm-hmm. I thought he said disagree, but he said I do not agree. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, thoughts on that? Do we like the idea of Rey being a like a cloned experiment by Palpatine or someone else many years ago? Either to transfer his essence into, or to create like a new line of soldiers or something like that who are force sensitive. What do we think? Or do we like just the idea that Rey, same premise as the original movie, her parents sold her off for drinking money and did a runner and were not killed by this bald-headed alien.
Well, either way, they're not killed by the fucking bald-headed alien.
And her dad was not Palpatine's son.
Her mom, on the other hand,
she was fair game. That would have been an awkward, like, imagine meeting the in-laws. She goes and sees a father-in-law, Palpatine.
Yeah, this isn't working out.
I think she should just be a nobody. Yeah, we'll experiment with both. I'm not going to poo-poo any ideas. But,
nothing here is set in stone. This is just us spitballing for like an hour and a half to 2 hours.
I still want to find out who the fuck Palp fucked with. I mean, the thing is, the guy looked vaguely normal, so she's got to be like a sort of a vaguely attractive looking chick, right?
Who was the mother of Trioculus? No, wait, Trioculus, not Trioculus, Triclops.
You're saying names I don't know.
These were some not good legend stories about. So there was a three-eyed guy who claimed to be Palpatine's son named Trioculus. This was in legend. It turns out Palpatine's real son was a completely different three-eyed guy who I think's name was like Triclops or something.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah, it's not good. I think it's from like the Gauntlet of Vader or something, Vader's glove.
Uncompetitive says Rey could be the daughter of Kira.
Oh, Kira.
That's Emilia Clarke, right?
Yeah.
I guess that would work narratively, but also would that be even more underwhelming and of an anticlimax than she's a Palpatine? Just like that build up. Your mother is Emilia Clarke from Solo.
Even I, who really liked Solo, that is fairly like who? The same reason I don't want Plagueis to be Snoke, because they're like, I am Darth Plagueis, and then they're both like, who the fuck is Darth Plagueis?
Well, who the fuck is Snoke? And I don't want you to reference
Snoke is Snoke.
I don't want you to reference all these novels, and you can't just sweep shit like that under the rug and just say, oh, just go with it. He's just a dude that's like appeared out of nowhere and has all these funds and has built all this wonderful shit out of nowhere. Fuck that noise. You need to explain that shit. That is shit that needs to be explained. And I don't want no fucking novel or graphic novel or comic book to fucking explain that shit. That should have been stuff in the movie. But again, it's just give us familiar shit that we've seen and just run with it. If you make him Plagueis in the change of one name, you pretty much circumvent any need for any other explanation. We know who Plagueis is. We get the story of Plagueis. He's here. He existed. He survived. He's ancient. He's pissed. And he's angry. And he's here to stay. The one true Sith Lord. But oh, guess what? Shit, no, he gets killed. Damn it.
I live in the United States. Ancient means smaller to me than it does for you. What do you consider ancient?
Ancient? Just What the term?
Well, I'm just considering the fact that because in this scenario, Plagueis say if he is 100 by Phantom Menace.
Your sad devotion to that ancient religion, a religion that existed 19 years ago.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, true.
So
I still wouldn't consider well, to be fair, the religion started 1,000 generations ago.
DD Punk says Luke should tell Rey about Plagueis. The only problem is that we don't have the audio, and we've seen what a fan edit looks like when you try to recast Mark Hamill's voice.
Bad,
But very bad, exceptionally bad. Don't do it. It's not worth it. So Rey knows how powerful Plagueis is. I mean, she'll witness firsthand how powerful Plagueis is when he's like torturing her with the Force. And maybe Luke was the only person who knew Plagueis survived, but didn't tell anyone because he was on an island. That seems like a massive dick move from Luke right there.
Hey, would you hold the stream real quick? I gotta go check something.
Yeah, sure.
Keep talking.
Okay, I will do my damnedest. People, send your questions in, send your concerns about this fan edit, and yeah, we'll go from there. Like, I would love that. Like, obviously, if we could write that into the story about Luke telling Rey about Plagueis and the history and everything like that, just Luke just chilling with her on Act 2, just going, did I ever tell you about the tragedy of Dark Plagueis the Wise, and doing that whole thing again. DD Punk says, wait, I've got something possible. Okay, let's hear it, man. But yeah, no, me and JX, like, don't believe the hype. Like, we both love Star Wars, but our opinions on the sequel trilogy greatly differ. I hate the sequel trilogy. He absolutely loves it. He does have his problems with it too, though. But sometimes when we are spitballing ideas, we do come from opposite places. Like, I really want Snoke to be Plagueis because I think that would be a really cool idea and tie everything together. He's fine with Snoke just being a guy. That shit doesn't fly for me. Like, I need more information. I need setup, especially when the prequels went all out of their way to set up the originals and this rise of Palpatine and how he acquired everything, to then just throw like a new bad guy out into the mix and just go like, oh, accept it. I can't. I need some explanation for that. I think with how hyped up with how hyped up the revelation is of Rey's parents, I think it needs to be somewhat central to the plot. If it's not, then either make her no one or make the person who is her parents like really memorable. Like, I don't know, the granddaughter of Obi-Wan or something. I don't know.
Wasn't Ivan going to do that at one point?
I think he mentioned that, yeah. I'm not
like
sure.
He just had some random Obi-Wan lines from Empire Strikes Back in the scene in the throne room.
DD Punk says maybe Luke finds out about Plagueis when Rey and Kylo face him off in the throne room, and he senses him from a deleted scene. And hang on. Maybe Luke finds out about Plagueis when Rey and Kylo face him off in the throne room and he senses them. Well, that's a bit too late then at that point, isn't it? Because, I mean, Plagueis will technically die in that scene. So if Luke just goes like, oh, hey, wait, Rey, Plagueis is still a thing. She's like already in the throne room and getting like attacked by him at that point. So.
Also, Uncompetitive asks, could I send you my completed sequel trilogy on a USB stick for your critique?
I mean, if you can upload it online, and on like a fan edit thing, that's probably the easiest way that we can watch it and go through it.
Yeah, I agree with this. You've got yeah, I told you. Was it you who asked about websites it could go on?
Yeah, it was. And
I said SDN edition. Fuck.
You got this, man.
SDN editions and Firework Studios.
Mm-hmm.
Two great fan editors, by the way. Look up their shit. That's where Skywalker's going.
So I'm trying to think if we had any more ideas. It's sort of that's the rough sort of outline of everything at the moment. It's going through what stuff can be entirely removed. We're thinking that we can pretty much remove the entire Rathtar scene. Obviously,
Galactic Hunter
Chewbacca.
Club.
Obviously, obviously Chewbacca will be in a sling, so we need to do something about that. But either add the sling onto him when he first shows up, or just somehow crop out the sling on
Oh,
his arm.
we will be absinthing, which is a program that I use sometimes, 3PO's arm.
Yeah, so no red arm now in Force Awakens.
Oh, no. Exclusively red arm.
Red
We
arm
are
all the way
keeping the
through.
red arm from beginning to end. I want that red arm to be this duology's silver leg.
Oh, okay, if we must. I'd quite like just straight up golden 3PO, but
No, red arm. You probably didn't recognize me because of the red arm.
Oh, that is one of my favorite lines from set. Okay, point the motion carries 3PO's getting his red arm.
The
Okay,
point is conceded. Will you allow a commission to investigate the validity of your accusation?
I will not defer. I have come to this Senate to express the attack on our sovereignty now. I was not elected to watch my people suffer and die whilst we discuss this invasion in a committee. I don't know why she says that.
Says
It's
it
very weird.
very specifically like that.
If this body is not
Andrew,
capable of action, I suggest new leadership is needed. I move for a vote of no confidence in Chancellor Valorum's leadership.
Andrew, it's good to see you. It's probably a good thing you're late. We have been doing things that have been causing us physical pain, and we have not been watching our mouths. And I know that's
Causing you physical pain. I was
you
fine.
complained a little bit.
A little bit, a tiny little bit.
It's also I've been drinking. But where were we? So yeah, we started quoting Phantom Menace. Little things that we just haven't mentioned. I think a force projection of Leia when she heals Ben on Exegol. If you recall what the hell I'm talking about. Things like Leia gives like.
Here's a thought. What if we use the scene of Luke sitting on the rock and using the Force when he does the astral projection? What if we have Luke move the lightsaber and be the one to kill Snoke / Plagueis?
I've seen it. I don't. It's very unfulfilling.
Okay.
I just like no, who then why is Kylo suddenly fighting?
And then Kylo later, yeah, I killed Snoke. Yeah, that's fair enough.
Oh, that's easy enough. I think it's one.
And if he could do that all the time, why didn't he just like force choke him? Because we know that Luke can force choke because he force choked the Gamorrean guards. So.
Sorry, I was looking at the comments. Cuts for uncompetitive. Send them to us. I really want to see them because I vaguely remember you mentioning them in the comments one time, and I didn't realize it was you until I saw your thumbnail. I think that was you, unless it wasn't. In which case, it wasn't. But also, if we are kind of wrapping up a little bit, Chris, I think you have something to say.
I do.
Spanish people who explored South America.
Oh, okay. So this is like a running thing on these streams where I have been requested by someone who I'm not going to mention the name of, recommends that I say a word in my British accent to all y'all Native American speakers. And
that's not no. No.
Not Native American speakers, as in just Native American speakers. Just that was a poor choice of words. Anyway, I believe that this word I've already said in one of the earliest streams, but in case they missed it, I will say it again. It's conquistador. Conquistador? Is that the one? That was right.
Conquistador. I think it was conquistador.
Yeah. So
same because I'm same, Andrew. I'm looking forward to seeing what other people do with the trilogy as well, because it's one thing to see what people do with the prequels after the prequels have all been made. I've seen people with a limited view making edits, and now they realize what their limitations are. And I'm looking forward to seeing what people can do now that they know where everything is going.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be tough though, because
we're going to see some dead Lukes finally.
Rise of Skywalker is a movie that does a lot of questionable things.
Some people like it.
And not entirely for the better.
Also, thank you, Uncompetitive. It was an act of hate. Well, it was an act of something. It was an act of drunken inhibition.
But as I've said with editing, sci-fi fan says limits can be a problem. They can. There is always a way, somehow, some way, and it may not come to you in the first instant, but if you think and you ponder and you ruminate on that scene,
take some showers
around
it. Think about it in the shower.
Yes, edit the movie in your head. Think about everything that's on offer, and you will be able to think outside the box.
Really? Hang on. Wait. What? Wait. Look at the what? Uncompetitive. My episode 7 edit is entirely fabricated apart from the destruction of the Hosnian system. I don't know entirely what you mean by that, but we want to see it.
Yes.
Put it somewhere.
Post it online.
Put it somewhere. Don't forget a disclaimer so people know that they need to own it.
I only have 2 movies worth of footage for 3 films, so 7 has to be a slideshow of concept art with voiceover narration.
I still want to see it, but now it's more of a cautious curiosity.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
But I'm trying to think if we had any other ideas for the movie. We've gone through the themes. We've gone through some of the main scenes that we've.
Let me just scroll through the document and see if there are any little things we just kind of miss. If we can get a shot of a kid from Stranger Things, did that. That's for the sequel to Skywalker coming soonish. Oh, this was an idea from Cinephi, who I talk to sometimes on Discord. The drums from the opening of Revenge of the Sith, from the Battle of Coruscant.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe put those at the beginning of the Battle of Exegol.
Yeah, that could work.
That just sounds cool, and I liked it, so I put it there.
DD Punk wants our thoughts on an idea that he had. Let me just scroll up earlier. Maybe Luke finds out about Plagueis when Rey and Kylo face him off in the throne room, and he senses him from a deleted scene, and we see flashbacks of Plagueis. But still, he's like, "Oh no, Rey is in danger." So he tries to go and save her, but is too late and sees the wreckage on Crate. And when he arrives, he finds out Plagueis is dead. He stays though. He stays to go and bring back Kylo and meet with Leia. Example. This also brings more reasons to why he came to Crate to get his redemption. This means Luke is really there and not pretending to be whilst using the Force. So essentially, Luke goes to save Rey from Plagueis, but is too late and finds the wreckage on Crate, but still goes there to bring Kylo to the light side. The problem is I'm not quite sure what relevance Crate has to the Snoke / Plagueis event of that happening. Well, I mean, we've got the idea of Luke is actually going to go there in person. Maybe he can sense what happened with the death of Snoke and Kylo Ren becoming supreme leader and everything like that. Kind of like when Yoda senses what's happening with Order 66 and he's sort of like clutching his chest and has like a moment. Maybe have something with Luke there where he senses it, which then makes him go to Crate to pursue them. But how would he know that they're going to Crate? I don't know.
Also, just how do you know? Yeah, almost like it would make more sense if he just appeared through a projection. Anyway, question from Uncompetitive. How do you remove a soundtrack and replace it with another?
That's excellent. I want to know this too.
You put it into Adobe Audition and you use lift vocals. It's supposed to be used to remove the vocals from music, but it's imperfect. But the thing is, when you put new music under it, you really don't notice the old music that's still semi there. Good.
DD Punk, it's because the ship where the throne room is on is over Crate. Oh, okay. Yeah, but how did he know they went to Crate? They might not have. They might have light speed somewhere else, right?
Oh, also a little thing. If Rey is a part of the evacuation and the Resistance flying away from the First Order, instead of Rey knowing that, instead of DJ being a thing, because he might not be, at least definitely not at this point. It could be the whole connection between Rey and Kylo that gives them away.
DJ is the giant Sith snake because he sounds like a snake.
Oh, easy, big F.
Remember, kids, if he sounds like a snake, it's a mistake.
What?
That's from Red Letter Media.
It sounds like it, but what?
DD Punk says, I can say the same if Luke is going to Crate to redeem Kylo in your idea. That's actually, that's a good point. It's a very good point. I mean, I think I've pretty much said everything I can on the... Obviously, we're working on our own respective projects, and we're actually sort of working on a project together too. So this isn't going to be coming out until all of those are done, and we have The Rise of Skywalker available to us to actually edit with. But now that all of them are out, we can sort of begin to process and sort of craft rough ideas before we get it into the editing software.
Yeah, we'll just have to see where it goes.
Uncompetitive says, you don't need the hyperspace tracking device, code breaker, casino, deactivation, capture, decapitation, mutiny subplot if Kylo can use Force sense to know his mother's thoughts. We're talking about moving the deactivation, I'm guessing, is where they dress in Imperial outfits and go aboard the ship with Phasma. The decapitation, for example, that's going to go into the end of Rise of Skywalker.
Also, I just remembered something. I forgot an edit that I really, really, really want to make, and I've got it here. I just need to make sure I've got it all lined up. Andrew, you know this. Chris, you know this. Some of you might know this, but for those of you who remember, when you first saw Force Awakens, and they say the best pilot in the Resistance is going to meet with an old friend to get a map for Luke Skywalker or whatever, you were expecting to recognize who the character was. And then you met Lor Santeca, and you're like, who the hell is this old guy? Fine enough, I guess, whatever. But I want to replace Lor Santeca with Jar Jar Binks. When he gives Poe the map, he could say something like, this won't undo my mistakes, but it can help making things right. Which canonically would be in reference to his role in Palpatine's rise for power, and also would kind of be Disney saying, it's been a rough decade.
Do you mean, this won't undo some mistakes?
That was terrible.
I know.
Don't stand in the corner.
This is why, hey, I mean, you're giving him all this, like, deep, important dialogue, but you fail to realize that he will be in Jar Jar voice.
He's going to be in Jar Jar voice in like his 80s, so you get some interpretation with that.
Oh man, I wonder if we could get Ahmed Best back.
Hey, he might do it.
Just do what you did in '99, but just make him sound older.
But also, you know, but it would be like Disney saying it's been a rough decade and we can't change that, but we can try to make it better. And then Jar Jar gets his head cut off in front of everyone, and they all cheer. Okay, maybe not so much with that last part, but I think
I'm down
it's
with it being a character we know.
well. I just think it would be good to see this character in a less obnoxious state before sending him off. You know, General to Misa, she's a royalty. Misa knows where you come from before you used to call yourself the Bombad Kylo Ren. I
God.
want to use Bombad, damn it.
Yeah, they're like, honestly, if I'd have gone to see Seven and Jar Jar was in the opening scene and got killed, I'd have been fine with that. I'd have liked to have seen Jar Jar again. Why not? I was 6 when Phantom Menace came out. I've got good nostalgia points. He'd get a chance to redeem himself. He'd be central to the plot.
Interesting idea, Cole. With the interesting idea, Cole. Essentially anti-cheesing it. For those of you who are familiar, that's the one that took all the aliens in the prequels and just subtitled. Which cheap, a really good way to just kind of get them what you want.
Well, like, Kylo, go to the Mustafar system. It is a volcanic planet. You will be safe there.
Safe. I'm not doing it. This is a thing that we do. This is just one of those long-term effects of editing where you can just kind of quote. You can just start anywhere from a movie and just start as long as you've edited that movie. Like, we're not going to do this now, but maybe we'll do a thing at some point about this.
The oven's freed up, Sean.
The only thing about Plagueis that I was thinking about is that wasn't he one of those banking clan alien things? So obviously you'd be completely changing. Well, I mean, we're changing the canon anyway, aren't we? So there's not really this point's moot. But I guess with Plagueis, because that preceded Disney's takeover, I feel like that is naturally set in stone when we've seen Plagueis before. So obviously we'll be changing the appearance of Plagueis to be whatever a Snoke is and not a banking clan alien. So if everyone's cool with that, we can do that. I actually really like the Jar Jar Binks idea, and I love what DD Punk says. He's put, I don't like that idea only because Jar Jar dies.
I like what DD Punk has put with, it is a volcanic planet. You will be safe there. General! Oh god, when Kylo meets Tito in My 8, she is subtitled to be saying, "This is not the droid you are looking for." Who the hell is Tito?
Tito's the junk thing, isn't it? Oh no, that's Tito. He has no respect for anyone. Episode 7, the little thing that's
right. Well, you said Tito in 8, so I was like,
okay.
Oh, okay.
This is not the droid you're looking for. I get it because it's from fucking A New Hope.
I guess what you're doing there. I hate it when the way the Moons look, the long faces. Snoke is better design. While you're right, I like the fact that like those tall, lanky guys are the bankers of the universe. Because let's be honest, those are the bankers of the universe.
The world needs more Wat Tambers in this universe.
The world needs more cowbell.
It does. And Wat Tamba can supply it. No, he's going to be the bass. He's going to be when the beat drops.
I don't even know what the hell you're talking about.
When he like tweaks his nipple and it like does the.
No, I just don't. Oh, that guy.
Yeah, Wat Tamba.
Okay, listen. Some people know what Talba, some people know Transparasteel.
If I say Poggle the Lesser, you know who I'm talking about, though, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, you know him.
He was the Geonosian guy, Prime Minister, right?
He was.
I'm just trying to get his right. It was Prime Minister.
Think so. Yeah.
This has devolved a bit.
It has. We're going off a tangent. I don't know if we need to round off soon. We're almost coming up to 2 hours, but
yeah, we should probably sign off. You've done your transparent aluminum.
Aluminium.
No,
Notice those eyes. Notice those eyes.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Sorry, my screen is a little dirty, and sometimes it's like, okay, is that dirt or is that a letter? Actually, it's more, is that dirt or is that punctuation? Have they just randomly put a comma in the middle of that word, or does my screen need to be washed? The answer is my screen usually needs to be washed.
Poggle was second in command to the Geonosian Queen. That is true. And then Geonosis was leveled to the ground, if I remember Clone Wars correctly.
Well, it wasn't. That was revealed in Rebels.
DD Punk says, I think I'm going to start creating a Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order fan edit, by the way, making the game into a movie fan edit. Dude, if you do that and you get that posted up, I will definitely check that out. I haven't had a chance to play the game myself yet. I've heard very good things about it. And I would very much like to watch that as a movie. So if you can get that done, I will definitely check that out, man.
Thank you, Uncompetitive. I had fun.
I had fun too. This was, I mean, I always love talking about Star Wars, even when we're just spitballing ideas. So this was great.
I think it was a very positive environment when we agreed at the beginning we're not going to shoot down any ideas.
I mean, I said I disagreed with one, but then I also did follow that up with saying we can try both and see how it comes out.
Yeah, I don't even remember what that one was.
It was the Rey being a clone idea, I think.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm also okay with that not being finished, by the way.
Because can you imagine an army full of like talentless, just British actresses who can't act their life?
Keep your Ivan Ortega in your pants.
Can you imagine an army of all of that awful voiceover work from the Battlefront 2 game?
Hey, listen, it's not fair. You were listening to it at 125% and you didn't realize it.
Would it have been better though if I did slow it down?
Who the fuck knows? The fact is, you don't know.
Cole, I may add, when Kylo Ren touches Vader's mask, the same flashes happen and it fades into the Vader versus Kylo Ren fan film. Hopefully adds slower pacing. There you go. That's an idea.
Yeah, we said it earlier. You might not have been here. We were also talking about using that fan film on Exegol. You good?
Sci-fi fan, come on, Chris, knock it off. What?
I don't know.
What am I knocking off?
I don't remember. We were talking about something.
Sorry, I was just DD Punk's comment there. That made me laugh.
An army full of Rey generals.
Oh, come on, Chris, knock it off. That was probably to me hating on Rey, right?
Oh, probably. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. All right. I didn't know. I didn't even remember what you were talking. I'm just so used to you hating on Rey. I just kind of learned to tune it out.
She's awful. She's Master Skywalker.
General!
Help.
Okay. We're approaching 2 hours. We're gonna sign off.
Yeah.
I got the dice. They still do. Oh, right. Also, these are gonna go. We're gonna restore a shot that Ryan Johnson liked.
Which is
when Han puts these up in Force Awakens.
Oh yes, yeah. Ivan Amaral. Hopefully, it's not the Ivan.
It's considering it's a last name and not all Ivans are related. I'm pretty sure it's not.
That's okay.
A lot of extra lore can be shoved into text scrolls. Yes, you can. Finn did have the most potential,
but we are limited.
He had quite a bit of potential. I think he had the most unused potential, as what I would agree with there.
About a lot of extra lore being shoved into the text crawls, that is true. However, you only have 3 paragraphs. You need to explain what's happened post episode 6.
The dead speak.
And also setting up the situation beginning 7. So you are very limited in that regard as to what you can add in there. And obviously you don't want to give loads of information into the lore that will take away from surprises that will later happen into the film, i.e. Plagueis. But if you've got to get the information in there somewhere, maybe we'll have to resort to that. We don't know yet.
We plan to DD Punk. Oh, and we will not be making overhyped edits. As another fan editor proved, twice the pride, double the fall. I've been JX editor.
And I've been Chris, I guess. I don't have a cool sounding name. Add what I should be called in the comments right now.
I've been calling him Smiley because he's so freaking smiley. Okay.
Whoever comes up with the best name, hang on, hold off on the sign off. I want a good name in the comments, and then when I get that, you will sign off as you, and I will sign off as that name.
Oh, this is gonna go well.
Oh yeah, I know, right? I will pick which one is the best. So get your names in right now before we sign off. Chris Crossover, I like that.
Ooh, that's not bad.
That's
also Cole. We're planning to make Finn more important in Rise of Skywalker's ending by having it be the stuff from Last Jedi.
General and Chris General.
I actually really like Chris Crossover.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay, I'm gonna pick that one.
Excuse me. I have been JX editor the first.
Oh, sorry, I thought there were more titles to follow there. And I've been Chris Crossover.
His name, Queen of the Annals.
Queen of the Andals. Okay, wow. Okay, nice.
All right. Well, bye.
See you guys.
Wait. 4, 3, 2. It's almost 2 hours. Fuck. And now it needs me to confirm the end of broadcast, so it went over 2 hours.
Goodbye, everybody.
Welcome to the future.